Hello everyone. Have you yet started with your UGC NET English Paper 2 preparation? If not, then this is your best destination to start your preparation. I am Manita Sibi and the name of my channel is Mind to Mind with Manita. If you are preparing for UGC NET English, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and also hit the bell icon. We'll be starting with Unit 1. I hope you all know what is Unit 1. Unit 1 consists of everything under the sky on drama. So today we are going to start up with British drama. Unit 1 under drama. British drama is the first thing that we are going to take up. Under that, what all things will we see? We'll see an overview. We'll see the evolution of drama, British drama, the key playwrights, we don't say playwriters, playwrights, and the major movements under British drama. Right? So let's get started. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, Mind to Mind with Manita. Let us learn to lead. As you all know, I'm an educationist. I'm a principal of an ICSE school and a keen follower of UGC NET and also preparing for my PhD in English literature. So let's start with under drama. What is there in UGC NET syllabus, the English syllabus for paper 2? So under that you have British drama, the literary history and canon, and which will be covered across different periods like medieval period, Elizabethan and Jacobean period, Restoration period, the 18th century drama, the 19th century drama, the modern and the contemporary drama. After that, we will also study the literary terms or the literary forms and the movements. Like what are the explicit drama topics that we need to follow in. So under that you have tragedy, comedy, theatre of the absurd, the epic theatre, the problem play, the closet drama, the history plays, the poetic drama, realism and naturalism in theatre, all these things. So, and along with that, we will also see the European and the world drama, its comparison and the influence on the dramas in the later ages, wherein how the European and the world drama were influenced from all these, the British drama, then the Greek drama, the French drama, the Russian drama, the Irish drama, the American drama, and of course the Indian English drama. It will come occasionally, but how the British drama has impacted the Indian English drama. And also we'll see the major playwrights who all were part of it. Right, then in the fifth part we'll see the various theory and criticism relevant to drama, like Aristotle's poetics and how he used to write about tragedy, the classical unities, the Brecht's alienation, the Stanislavski's realism, and all those. Right, then after that I'll also be discussing about the common questions and the types of questions that are asked in UGC NET. So what kind of questions are usually asked in the UGC NET? Like you have to match the playwright with the play or the era in which it was written. Like we spoke about the 18th century drama, the 19th century drama, the Elizabethan, the Jacobean, like that. Then you have to identify the features of a literary movement. Then some extract-based questions from the canonical plays will be asked. Chronological order of playwrights or the plays will be asked. Thematic analysis, like gender in Restoration drama, how was the existentialism in Beckett. All these sort of questions will be asked. So let's move on to our first part, the introduction of British drama. Before that, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, Mind to Mind with Manita. This will give you the updates, whatever we are uploading on UGC NET Paper 2 English related questions. So you will be, keeping yourself updated with all the trends. So what is British drama and how is it evolved? Like, what was the purpose of bringing in British drama? So the British drama started in religious performances, like in the church and all, with complex psychological narratives. It reflected the social, political, cultural shifts across the time, whatever problems were faced in the society, that was displayed through the drama on various stages, and majorly in a gathering for religious performances. Then there were many forms. It was not just related to the problems in the society. Gradually it started with comedy, tragedy, history, farce, satire, realism, absurdism, everything. So individual meaning of all these things we'll be discussing on in the later part, where all these dramas will be separately discussed on. So the UGC NET explores the development, key features, themes and techniques of the British drama. Right, so hope this much is very clear to you all. So now let's move to the medieval drama, that is in the books and whatever is, whatever is mentioned, everything starts with the 5th century onwards, and in this part we are going to discuss about the 5th to the 15th centuries, wherein what were the forms. The forms were like mystery, miracles, morality plays. For example, Every Man was something you can refer to, and they were performed during the festivals and often on carts. During that time, the theaters, or there was no professional platform to perform. This I'm speaking about the medieval time, that is between the 5th and the 15th century. So during this time, all the performances were done during the festivals, and the stage was the carts, the bullock carts or any other carts, so that people could be made aware about the situations prevalent in the society. And what was the major focus? The focus was on religion, salvation, and the difference between good versus evil. Nowadays, we have various different platforms, TV, social media, books, everything. But during that time, the only platform available was such kind of religious gathering with no professional setup. So this was introduced to give people about learning about morality, the religion, the salvation, and also a differentiation. They should understand this is good and this is evil. Right. And there was a creative explosion later on, after the 15th century, under the Queen Elizabeth I's reign. And that period is called as Elizabethan reign, or the late 16th and the early 17th centuries. So during that time, you must have seen there was an explosion in the writers. Marlowe was there, Shakespeare was there, Jonson was there. So Queen Elizabeth I was encouraging people to come up with their creative ideas and put forward, because she was a major appreciator of all these things. So Marlowe's, if you see Dr. Faustus, he was an overreaching protagonist. Then the bard Shakespeare, He wrote so many different genres of plays, poems, short stories, novels, everything. So under that, like Master of Tragedy, he was comedy, he had everything written. Then we have Jonson, who was uh, who was more into satirical and classical structure. Right, then now let's discuss about William Shakespeare. He's considered as the bard of English literature. Explored power, love, betrayal, and identity. So we can understand from his writing that he was majorly focusing on human emotions. Wherever you see, there were all sorts of emotions coming out, be it love, jealousy, hate, betrayal. Every sort of emotion, human emotions were brought out. He also wrote tragedies like Hamlet, Macbeth, Othello, King Lear. Then comedies, The Twelfth Night, As You Like It. All these are the dramas. Then histories like Henry IV, Richard III. And he is known for his soliloquies and complex characters. You will see a lot many characters in all his dramas, so you have to go back to the previous pages every time, because it is flooded with lot many characters in his plays, and they all have their presence to the utmost. Then came the Jacobean and the Caroline drama, which during that time everything was very dark and cynical in tone. Webster, the examples are like Webster, the Duchess of Malfi, corruption and gender. Common themes were on death, revenge, madness, and spectacle. Then came the Restoration drama. Restoration means things were restored in a different manner now. The reason was there was a lot of problems in the previous centuries, so now there was a little advancement in the drama setup, so theaters were revived after 1660. The reason is many different sorts of revolutions were had came in before the Restoration period. So during the Restoration period, the dramas were majorly in comedy of manners, like they were very witty, satirical, and of sexual politics. So let me explain you what witty is. Witty is means wherein you take one point and you give a very crisp idea about the situation going on right now, and satirical is wherein you mock about the situation. The seriousness is brought down through a satire or mocking about the situation, and also sexual politics were brought in because there the freedom of speech was more. Then like the Afraban in the Rover, the Congreve. Then came in the 18th century drama, wherein there was the rise of sentimental comedy, like virtue and morality were more given more importance, like what is good in a society, and there was a morality being transferred to people through theater and drama. The focus was more on middle class life. The examples are like Sheridan, The Rivals, The School for Scandal. Then melodramas to realism was the transition. Like there was a lot of, rom-coms, then more of melodrama, more of emotions, and from that the drama started and was brought down to realism. So the transition was melodrama to realism, and the major playwrights were Oscar Wilde, who wrote about wit and double lives, like the importance of being earnest, one of his works. Then George Bernard Shaw, a, a beautiful social critic who worked and showed the society the mirror, and his works were like Pygmalion, Mrs. Warren's professionalism and all. Then during the 20th century, the drama were more modernized. Like they broke all the traditional forms, like whatever forms were there in the 19th, then the 18th century and the previous centuries. There was a complete change now in its portrayal. So it was more modernized, and they broke all the traditional forms. Now there was a very professional setup. So during that time, you can see T.S. Eliot, whose worst drama, The Murder in the Cathedral, was very famous. Then we had John Osborne, whose work of Look Back in Anger was worth praising. Then Samuel Beckett, whose the work The Theatre of the Absurd was worth appreciating. Then came in the contemporary drama, that is, it all started post the World War II. And during this time, there was more experimentation. The dramas and the writings were more, gender inclined. There was also writing about politics, and the works like Pinter, Silence in Minutes, then Churchill's The Feminist Drama, then Stoppard's The Intellectual Comedies. All these were something which we can work on. Then realism dramas like Real Life Accuracy by Bernard Shaw, naturalism like deterministic realism, absurdism like illogical existential, and epic theatres where critical distance was influenced by Brett. Now, what were the theatre? These were the theatre moments. Now, what kind of questions will be asked in the UGC NET from the section of British drama? You will be asked about the match works with period and the authors. So you should know the name of the author, their works to the periods. Then recognize the quotes, characters, and movements. You will also have to study the context, solve the past papers, and also identify the key themes. Like during the Renaissance period, we had Marlowe, Shakespeare, and Jonson. So just try recollecting or putting it up on sticky notes so that through photogenic memory you can recall all these. Like during Renaissance period, we had Marlowe, Shakespeare, and Jonson. During Restoration period, we had Burn and Congreve. During the 18th to the 19th century, we had Sheridan, Oscar Wilde, and Bernard Shaw. During the modern period, we had Beckett, Osborne, Pinter, Churchill, and Stoppard. Then key dramatists to remember. These are, after that, after realism, it is naturalism. The movement was naturalism, where more of importance was given to nature. Naturalism means nature. So the key features were determinism, heredity, and the environment. And Zola and Strindberg were the writers. Then absurdism, where there was no absurdism means whatever the writings were there was no sense in writing. They were all nonsensical plots and existential despair. So the features, the main key feature of absurdism is nonsensical plots and existential despair. And who were the writers? Beckett and Ionesco. Then we had the epic theatres, and it proved to be a major reformer during that time. Like there were alienation effect, and the theme was more on giving audience awareness. And who were the major influences like Brett and Churchill. Then after that we have the postmodern after the World War II, where everything was meta theater, irony, and pastiche. And so you can see the different movements. Let's recall it again along with me. Realism, naturalism, absurdism, epic theater, and postmodern. And what is the features? Please look through it quickly and also try recalling the major influences or the major writers of these movements. Hope you have gone through it. Now let's move forward. Hence, let me give you a quick conclusion and a little tips on UGC NET Paper 2 of English. See, understanding drama in relation to history is important because from the 5th century to the 21st century, there has been a lot of evolution. So there are many